question 9/11. The following individuals question the government's version of 9/11 or the government's openness in providing information about the attacks of September 11th. 9/11 Commissioners. The co-chairs of the 9/11 Commission, Thomas Keane and Lee Hamilton, said the CIA, and likely the White House, obstructed our investigation. The co-chairs of the 9/11 Commission also said the 9/11 commissioners knew military officials misrepresented the facts to the Commission, and the Commission considered recommending criminal charges for such false statements, yet didn't bother to tell the American people. Indeed, the co-chairs of the Commission now admit the Commission largely operated based upon political considerations. 9/11 Commission co-chair Lee Hamilton says, "I don't believe for a minute we got everything right. The Commission was set up to fail, and people should keep asking questions about 9/11. That the 9/11 debate should continue, and the 9/11 Commission report was only the first draft of history." 9/11 Commissioner Bob Kerrey said, "There are ample reasons to suspect that there may be some alternative to what we outlined in our version. We didn't have access." 9/11 Commissioner Timothy Romer said, "We were extremely frustrated with the false statements we were getting." Former 9/11 Commissioner Max Cleland resigned from the Commission, stating, "It is a national scandal. This investigation is now compromised. One of these days we will have to get the full story because the 9/11 issue is so important to America. But this White House wants to cover it up." 9/11 Commissioner John Lehman said, "We purposely put together a staff that had, in a way, conflicts of interest." The senior counsel to the 9/11 Commission, John Farmer, who led the 9/11 staff's inquiry, said, "I was shocked at how different the truth was from the way it was described. The tapes told a radically different story from what had been told to us and the public for 2 years. This is not spin. This is not true." Congress. According to the co-chair of the Congressional Inquiry into 9/11 and former head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Bob Graham, a U.S. government informant was the landlord to 2 of the hijackers for over a year, but the White House refused to let the 9/11 inquiry interview him. U.S. Senator Patrick Leahy states, "The 2 questions the Congress will not ask is why did 9/11 happen on George Bush's watch when he had clear warnings it was going to happen? Why did they allow it to happen?" Congressman Ron Paul calls for a new 9/11 investigation and states, "We see the 9/11 investigations that have been done so far as more or less cover-up and no real explanation of what went on." Congressman Dennis Kucinich hints, "We aren't being told the truth about 9/11. Democratic former Senator Mike Gravel states he supports a new 9/11 investigation, and we don't know the truth about 9/11. Former Republican Senator Lincoln Chafee endorses a new 9/11 investigation. Former U.S. Democratic Congressman Dan Hamburg says the U.S. government assisted in the 9/11 attacks, stating, "I think there was a lot of help from the inside." Kurt Weldon, former U.S. Republican Congressman and senior member of the House Armed Services Committee, and who served 6 years as the chairman of the Military Research and Development Subcommittee, has shown that the U.S. tracked hijackers before 9/11 and is open to hearing information about explosives in the Twin Towers, and is open to the possibility that 9/11 was an inside job. Military leaders. Colonel Ronald D. Ray, Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense under President Ronald Reagan, said, "The official story of 9/11 is the dog that doesn't hunt." Colonel Robert Bowman, Director of the U.S. Star Wars Space Defense Program in both Republican and Democratic administrations, who was a senior Air Force colonel who flew 101 combat missions, stated that 9/11 was an inside job. He also said, "If our government had merely done nothing, and I say that as an old interceptor pilot, I know the drill, I know what it takes, I know how long it takes, I know what the procedures are, I know what they were, and I know what they've changed them to. If our government had merely done nothing and allowed normal procedures to happen on that morning of 9/11, the Twin Towers would still be standing and thousands of dead Americans would still be alive. That is treason." Captain Daniel Davis, a U.S. Army Air Defense officer and NORAD TAC director, decorated with the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star, and the Soldier's Medal, stated, "There is no way that an aircraft would not be intercepted when they deviate from their flight plan, turn off their transponders, or stop communication with air traffic control. Attempts to obscure facts by calling them a conspiracy theory does not change the truth. It seems something is rotten in the state." Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Lattis, President of the U.S. Air Force Accident Investigation Board, who also served as Pentagon Weapons Requirement Officer and a member of the Pentagon's Quadrennial Defense Review, and who was awarded Distinguished Flying Crosses for heroism, 4 Air Medals, 4 Meritorious Service Medals, and 9 Aerial Achievement Medals, is a member of a group which doubts the government's version of 9/11. U.S. General Wesley Clark, Commanding General of U.S. European Command,